FuckCharlie.com.
Oh shit, we're live. I didn't even notice.
Hey, welcome to the Movie Epidemic podcast. Today we're talking about a couple movies. We've got Tommy Cruise's new movie, Edge of Tomorrow, and Seth MacFarlane's. I call him Seth F because we're close, we're tight, we're fucking tight.
F
Seth
isn't
F's-
even the first letter of his last name.
Yeah, I know, but Mick F, right?
Oh, Seth McF. All right, I'm with
Seth
you.
Mick F, yeah. Million Ways to Die in the West. We're talking about that. We're going to be doing a top 5 of Tommy Cruise movies because, we like to keep the theme similar,
Like to keep it frill.
And then we've got a throwback review. We're going to be doing all the James Bond movies, and we're starting with the first one, Doctor No.
No.
Well, I took notes on that one because that's there's a lot of shit to talk about in that movie. But, we might as well start it off with, Edge of Tomorrow, I think, is a good place to start here.
Okay, I'm glad we're starting off with Edge of Tomorrow because I literally watched it this morning.
Yeah. It's Groundhog Day.
But yeah, before we say anything, I want to make something very aware. This is a fucking stupid concept. It was a dumb concept when they did it in Groundhog Day, but at least that was a comedy. It's an even dumber concept in a fucking war movie.
Well, no, it's a sci-fi movie, and it makes more sense in this context, I think, just because
They explain it in this one, which
they
they never
give you a
really...
reason for it, and it's in a sci-fi environment, so you're like, all right, I'll let it.
I'll let it slip. So I want to know, like those alpha things that vomit on you that make you relive every day. Do you think that one of those alpha things vomited on Bill Murray while he was slumbering?
You know what? I was thinking about that, and I'm like, there's got to be some sort of tie in here, right? Because
Exactly, right?
It's literally the same.
Same universe. It's got to be.
Yeah. The thing is, they did explain it in this, but they explained it badly.
It was very poor.
They're like, because this specific thing, you got blood on you, then now you're connected to the mother brain. And you're like, but then they're like, but you're in control of the mother brain. And I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Don't say that part. Just be like, now you have the mother brain power, you're connected to it. That would have been fine. But when they're like, now you're in control of it, you're like, nope.
That's bullshit. A big problem that I have with this movie is that Emily, one of those British Emily girls, what was it? Emily Watson, Emily Blunt, one of those ones.
Could
Emily
be
something. One of those Emily girls.
Why every British? That's a good bet actually. Every British actress is named Emily.
Yeah, well, one of those British girls. I couldn't tell if she was deciding to do an American accent or if she was just letting it free ball because she went back and forth between the two a lot.
She had a British flag on her arm, so I just assumed
she must have been British. I wasn't paying attention a whole lot, but I did notice that.
It was Tom Cruise gets sent in to the British, it's a British and American base because they're invading France, which is right across,
Yeah.
Sort of set it up similar to
World War II, which is
World Wars.
Offensive. Very offensive. Lots of tie-ins to Normandy, and I'm like, I don't think this is the same thing at all. Very offensive. Very offensive.
I mean,
the writing was pretty lackluster, but the thing with this movie is that, okay, number one, first of all, first beef with this movie. Fucking Tom Cruise's character was a slimy, cocksucking piece of shit, and I wanted him to die. And every time I got to see him die, I felt satisfied. Was that what they were going for? Did they want us to want him to die? So they were like, oh, let's make a shitty, jizzy character and make him die a bunch of times so that the audience
I think that was
like,
part
yeah.
of it, so that, you didn't feel so bad every time he died, I think was the point of that.
I hated his character.
Then he was like a hero at the end, and you're like, well, I don't care. I don't really care. That was the problem with it.
We'll get back to the end in a few minutes because I got choice words about that.
Yeah,
shit.
The ending was interesting.
But so he fucking just relives the same day over and over again, and he keeps being a smartass, and he's like, first things first. That girl is like, don't tell anybody you got this thing. He couldn't have told more people.
That's true. Yeah. Every chance he got, he was telling somebody.
Yeah,
he's like, you're not going to believe this, but just listen to me. And
He pulled out like the whole like, oh, I know what you're doing right now, like a lot. Like, oh, that's a two behind your back. Oh, we've talked about this before. This is your secretary. This is her birthday. We get it. And
The first time he did it kind of like, oh, this is fun, and then it happens like 8 more times, and you're like, yeah, okay. You couldn't write anything else for it.
Here's another beef that I have with this movie is that when he's talking to Brendan Gleeson, good old Brendan Gleeson, God bless.
Mhm.
He's talking to Brendan Gleeson, and he's like trying to explain it, doing this whole bit that he does so many times, and then the secretary comes in and he's like, we've had this conversation, multiple times. This is your secretary. This is her birthday, and I just have to wonder, in what universe of that conversation did her birthday ever come
When did he
up?
pull it out? I was wondering that too.
Yeah,
That's exactly the same thing. I was thinking, like, when would he have pulled that out?
Did he just like fucking grab her hand and be like, "What's your birthday? I need to know."
No, this is my theory. In one of the times that he went through this whole thing, he didn't go into the building. He caught the secretary on her way out, and he like bumped into her, and he started a romantic relationship with her, and he found out all her information.
And then he banged, and then immediately after the bang, while he's coming,
Well,
he shot himself in the head.
That's like one of the things I liked in Groundhog Day, is he can just like try and bang women all the time. Like I think he did that at one point.
Yeah,
was
he
just, like,
did.
trying
He
to bang.
totally did. There's a lot of Groundhog Day jokes here.
Yeah, there is. They're actually like. It didn't seem like they were trying to hide it that much. There's like shit that happened in Groundhog Day that they did in this. Like.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, they were totally, they knew what they were doing, and Bill Murray called them up and was like, "Hey guys, just watched your new movie. Fuck ya."
I don't think Bill Murray gives a shit. I don't think Bill Murray has watched any movies. He doesn't seem like a guy that watches movies. He just seems like he like wanders.
Well, he said this week that he wants to see Ghostbusters 3, but he doesn't want to be in it at all. Like, he doesn't even want a cameo, but he definitely wants to go and fucking watch it.
He picked a horrible women cast that he wants to.
I thought it was all right. I mean, Kristen Wiig and Melissa McCarthy are the two most overrated comedic women in the world right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Melissa McCarthy, she's fat.
I don't want to
and
see
she
her
yells.
in anything.
Woo! Yeah, I'm done. I'm done with Melissa McCarthy. Kristen Wiig, I can still do. I like Kristen Wiig.
I mean, I would be able to manage if she was in it, but if fucking Melissa McCarthy's in that movie, I don't think I'll see it. I mean, probably just to review on this show.
Yeah, I don't know. Melissa McCarthy has become so bad, and she's become so typecast, and she knows it, and she's cool with it. She's like, as long as I'm making money, I'll be that fat yelling woman. Woo!
Yeah,
She was in The Heat. She was in that one with Jason Bateman, and she was fucking played the same character in both goddamn movies.
Yeah, that Jason Bateman movie. I tried to watch that and I turned it off like 20 minutes in.
I don't even remember what it was called. I just remember not liking it.
It was like
I didn't watch
Credit Card Man or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Wildly uncreative.
Identity Thief. That's what it was.
Yeah. It's basically Credit Card Man. Come on, that was close.
You nailed it. Alternate title for sure.
Yeah, that's probably what they had on the script, and then
and then they're like,
make it a little broader.
Then somebody's like, is Credit Card Man a really good name? And then the writer was like, you want to change it from What's wrong with Credit Card Man?
What the fuck's wrong with Credit Card Man? That guy got fired. They rewrote it.
Yeah, absolutely. Exact same script. The guy sued. He lost.
Yeah, that's how the world works. It's an unfortunate truth.
That's the amount of work that they went through to make sure that movie was not called Credit Card Man.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway,
but that it was made because they already had Melissa McCarthy on the line.
Well, they called her up, and she's not going to turn down work. So.
Yeah, absolutely not. And to be honest, neither is Jason Bateman. Dude's got like no money.
Does he really have no money? What would he spend all that on?
I don't know. I just assume he has no money because he stars in bad movies. Except he did star in a good movie recently called Bad Words, which was really funny.
I didn't like that movie.
Oh, really? I thought it was awesome. But Jason Bateman, like, think about all the shit that he's done, I guarantee that when he did Horrible Bosses, he didn't even look at the script before saying yes.
That
I
movie's
think
pretty
he,
funny though.
I think he got lucky. I think he got lucky with that one being funny. He did The Identity Thief. He did one of the worst movies I've ever seen in my life. It's called The Change Up. It's basically
Oh yeah,
Freaky
that was
Friday
bad.
with Jason Bateman and
There's
Ryan
one he did
Reynolds.
with Zach Braff that's fucking amazingly horrible.
Uh, which
I think
one?
it's like The X or something.
Oh yeah, I don't pay attention to Zach Braff.
Oh, it's fucking incredible. You just have to see it. It's like so many just classic shitty Zach Braff moments in it. Like you can tell like he had a big part in writing it because you're like, oh, that's something Zach Braff would make. Like they're just like something wildly outlandish happens in like a regular setting. You're like, okay, Zach Braff wrote that for sure.
I'm still pretty pissed off at Zach Braff for that horrible video game documentary he decided to put out. Fucking unbelievable.
Anyway, back to Edge of Tomorrow. Back to Edge of Tomorrow.
Back to Edge of Tomorrow. Was it Emily Blunt? Was that who it
Yeah,
was?
it was Emily Blunt.
Well, Bill Paxton was also in this movie. I couldn't, for the life of you, tell you who he played. I don't remember. I just remember seeing his name in the credits and I'm being like, the fuck, Bill Paxton was in this? So I'm sure he was good because he's always good, but I don't remember. But yeah, Brendan Gleeson. Let's talk Brendan Gleeson.
He's good.
I like Brendan Gleeson. I like that fellow. He plays a good asshole too.
Yeah.
That being said, I really hated when he like.
Oh no, Bill Paxton. He was the sergeant, right?
Yeah, I think so. The guy who was like, "Get up, maggot!" like a million times.
Yeah.
But fucking. Here's another beef that I have, and this goes back to that scene where he's talking to Brendan Gleeson, and he's like, "Oh, this is your secretary," or whatever. But he's like talking to him. And he's like, "I've been in here and I've had this conversation with you a million times, and you've never given me what's in that vault." What the fuck did he say to convince him? Because Brendan Gleeson just went, "Oh, yep, okay, yeah, I just got it right over here," as if he walked into a store and was like, "Can I get a pack of cigarettes?"
That was kind of weird, right? Like.
Yeah.
He didn't actually do anything. He just gave it to him. That was like a weird oversight in the script, I think. They're like, we'll write this scene later because we don't know how to do it. And then they're just like, yeah, just give it to him. We need to do some story progression. And then like when they were talking to the scientist guy earlier about like how the whole power worked, and then they're like, if you lose any blood and you don't die, then it was a very specific set, like a set of parameters, right? Like you had to put different blood into your system, and the only way is to get a transfusion if you're about to die. So I'm like, obviously that's going to happen at some point. Like,
yeah, as soon as they said that, I was like, uh-oh, look out, here we go.
I mean, it was pretty clear foreshadow. I guess that's better than just not. I guess that's better than just not.
Ow, I burnt myself.
Don't do that, Chadley.
Shit, don't play with lighters, Chadley.
Fucking Chadley. But yeah, I guess like it's pretty standard storytelling in action movies, I guess, to do the foreshadowing and then be like, oh, you already did it. But like, it just annoys me that that had to happen.
Another thing with this movie is that I do agree with you there. The foreshadowing was blunt, like Emily Blunt, right?
Yeah.
Good joke, good pun.
I'd foreshadow Emily Blunt.
The writing and the script was V-bad. Like it wasn't good, right?
Yeah, it was pretty typical action movie, so I didn't have a lot of problems with it.
But I thought that the action scenes more than made up for it because there was not only like a fuckload of action scenes, but they were good too.
This movie looked really good.
Yeah.
I feel like it had decent pacing too, like considering like everything was going to happen twice basically. You're going to see at least everything a few times.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed like at no point did I feel like it was running too long or
yeah, it was a good length too. It was a good length.
Like there was a lot of shit that I liked about this movie. It just wasn't it wasn't a good movie. That's the thing. Like
yeah. There's a lot of shit I liked.
I didn't finish it going like, oh, fuck. It wasn't like after Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles where I was like, man, I could jump off a building right now.
that could be a cool thing that I do. But, no, it wasn't bad. I mean...
Tommy Cruise, though, he's a fucking movie star, that guy.
Yeah, he's good. A lot of people talk shit and they're like, oh, never watch anything with Tom Cruise.
No, man, yeah, because of all of his like personal shit that he's like Scientology and like
jumping on couches.
That overrates like how good he actually is. Like that dude's a good fucking actor. Like
He is fucking excellent.
nobody denies that. Oh, I mean people do, but they shouldn't. He's a
Plenty,
good fucking actor.
plenty of people deny it, but guess what? They're fucking wrong.
He's good, man. Like well, he puts on a good perform. Like when I was making my top 5 list, I'm like, man, he was good in like most of his movies. Like
Yeah, when I had to veto like maybe 15 or 20 movies off my list.
yeah, I mean
Like there was a lot that I vetoed.
the, I would say his most recent stuff, like his last like 6 to 8 years, have all been pretty shitty movies. But like
Yeah.
his older stuff, it's all good. Like he didn't make a bad movie like for a long time. Like
Yeah, except for maybe I don't know. I don't love Mission Impossible. I don't love the Mission Impossible series, specifically number 3. Number 3 is really bad. I haven't seen number 4. I've heard it's fucking awesome though.
number 4 is good. I mean, I like the one with Phillips. I think is Philip Seymour Hoffman in the third one.
Yeah, he's in the third one.
I thought he was good in that, but like that was the only redeeming factor.
Well, here's my big problem with the third one, and I really hate when movies do this. And I think Iron Man, the first Iron Man, did this too. I hate so much when the first scene of a movie is a scene that like is gonna come later in the movie, and then they
Right.
cut back. Like I fucking hate that shit. And with Mission Impossible 3, it wasn't even like it was explained. It was just like a weird scene at the beginning where Philip Seymour Hoffman had him tied up and shit, and then it's just like Mission Impossible 3, and then it's like,
Yeah, that's true.
wait, wasn't that motherfucker just tied up by Philip Seymour Hoffman? What the hell is this? Yeah, I don't
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
I like that his like wife died in that one though. That was funny.
There's we'll talk more about this later because it's on a point at my list, but we'll talk more about this later.
It's topical.
So I think we've covered most of this movie except for the end. Really.
Okay, let's dive right into it. If you're listening to this and you're really concerned about spoilers, clearly you weren't listening to what we were saying at all because for some reason you still want to watch this movie. But here we go.
I would watch it though. Like even if you haven't seen it, I would watch it. It's a fun movie. Like
It's a one-timer though. For sure,
Yeah.
a one-timer.
absolutely. Don't buy it.
A one-pop stop, really. Don't
If
purchase
I would have saw this in theaters though, I would have been fine with paying for it to see it on the big screen because I think it would have looked amazing.
Yeah, that's true. Because like I don't know, I sit like probably like this far away from my TV.
Mhm.
Like it's very close. It's like yeah, no, actually legit. Like about that far. I'm gonna go blind at an early age.
Yeah, I hope
Basically, is what I'm saying. But I don't know. I thought it looked awesome. Like
Yeah.
just on the TV.
Yeah.
But
for sure.
yeah, it's one of those movies. My dad saw it in theaters, and he said it was pretty good. And I wish I would have taken his advice and gone and seen it, because
Yeah.
it's just one of those things, you know. But that being said, let's get to the ending here.
Right. Okay.
So okay, here's my first beef. Here's my first beef with the ending. Okay, you know how like they go to Paris and all that jazz,
Sure.
and then they're in like that fucking thing where they gotta launch it across the area to get to the Louvre.
Yeah.
But then, as they're launching, the fucking wings get snapped off as they go through the Arc de Triomphe, and then they land right at the Louvre, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, I've been to Paris, and I could certainly not vouch for the fact that the Arc de Triomphe is about 10 feet from the Louvre.
Graphically,
The-
or yeah. Okay.
Very, very far away from each other. Definitely not that close. It was just a shameless way for them to plug two different historical landmarks into 5 seconds.
That's true. That's exactly what it was for. Before we get to the ending, I did want to talk about one more thing.
Okay.
When they were trying to get from the beach to wherever, and they had to do it a bunch of times, I like that scene. And then like they get to that helicopter or whatever, and then like there's like this horrible like conflict with him and not wanting her to die. And I was like, this is bad.
Yeah, what was the point of that? Like,
Because it
If
didn't
she-
matter after. Like,
if she dies, bro, what do you do? What do you do? You just fucking kill yourself. Everything's cool. Simpatico. Who cares?
yeah, that was weird. And then like, then like he just basically to get where we are right now, he just went on his own. Well, I guess it was kind of like to make it so he went on his own, right? That was just like it was the only conflict they could think of to make him do it by himself. I
Hmm.
guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we get to this ending where they're
But
like,
there was no point for him to do it by himself. He went and did the thing by himself. There was nothing there, and then he
yeah,
came
there's
back and
nothing
was
there.
like, there's nothing there. And they're like, okay, well, this girl's gonna go with you again. And he was like, okay.
Okay, yeah, it was weird. It's just like
All right.
that was like the one section of the movie that I'm like, this is weird. Like, why is this even in here? But
Yeah,
anyway.
it was strange to me. I also didn't understand that that's where he was. I like looked down for literally a second, looked up, and I'm like, what is he in a sewer now? Or oh, it's the dam. That's strange.
Yeah.
But yeah, also using that device that they just happen to have handy,
Hmm.
also pretty silly. Pretty silly. Also, if that girl no longer had that power, why the fuck was that guy, that scientist, still posing as a mechanic?
Uh, that's a good. Well, I think because he was no longer allowed to do anything else as a scientist because he's had some crazy theories. So like he's sent down to be a mechanic, and that's all they're letting him do.
That's wild. That's wild and it's dumb. I don't like it. I don't approve of it. I don't like that explanation. But anyway, going forward, they find out they use this magic device they just happen to have to find
Yep,
out
that they got
where
from.
yeah, from Crazy Mechanic Man. Um, they use it, they stick it into Tom Cruise, and he's like, oh my God, I immediately know where it is, and that's fine, I don't care about that. So they end up going to Paris, um, and apparently it's under the Louvre. We've already talked about that little debacle.
And then the
Where,
once like the plane crashes, like clearly all of them would have died that were in the like because he just like Tom Cruise just kind of like jumps out into the water, and you're like, I don't know if that's how that would go down.
yeah, well, here's the thing too, is that after that, once they actually get to the Louvre, they fight a few of the little squid aliens and stuff,
Even
and then
though 40 seconds earlier they were surrounded by like 1,000 of them.
yeah, and then all of a sudden there's like none, and they're at the core. Well,
Hmm.
here's my main beef. It's like they're both like, oh, we're both gonna die from this, and then they destroy the core, and then he just wakes up, and it's as if the last 2 days hadn't happened.
Yeah.
They didn't explain that where shit. I have no idea why that happened because when she lost hers, everything that she had was gone.
Well, I'm guessing, and now this is a big guess, but because he killed the mother brain, that power went to him. Because earlier he just killed an alpha, and then he got the power, right? But this time he killed the main thing,
The main bitch.
the main bitch, and that's why it reset back to like nothing ever happened, and they won the war. Like it was really weird.
I also
But
like that Brendan Gleeson was like, "Hey, just want to say, just do want to announce, we won the war. I don't know why.
just
Just
just gone. We're not going to invade the beach anymore. It's like,
we
okay.
did."
But yeah, then it's like they did that whole thing once he lost his power, and they had to invade the Louvre with like the team because he got like the team on his side, and he didn't have the power. So if he dies, that's it. It's over. It's like you're throwing that conflict in there anyway, huh?
My a big fan. I'm a really big fan of one of the douchiest lines, perhaps in film history. He was like, "If you see an alpha, don't kill it because then you'll get this time warp power." And they're like, "Well, what do we do if one of the alphas attacks us?" Take one for the team. Yeah, damn right. Tom Cruise suggests that these people kill themselves so that he no longer has a weird power.
Yeah,
Cocksucker. Son of a
absolutely.
bitch. What an asshole. Also, we're nearing the end here, of course. He goes back to the base, right?
Yep.
Goes back to the base after all this is said and done. And this is probably one of the dumbest credit cuts I've ever seen in my life.
Hmm.
He just goes up to Emily Watson or Blunt or whatever the fuck, and he goes. She's like, "Who said that you could talk to me?" And then he goes, "Me," and then it's just over, just like a little snicker.
Yeah. Yep. Hmm.
Fuck! I audibly said, "Fuck no, that's not how that ended."
Yeah, they left it pretty open at the end there. That's fine, I guess. I mean, that's how they
No,
want to do it.
don't say that's fine. That's not fine. That's horrible.
I like the movie though, man. Like when it comes down to it, like it was fun as fuck. It was like a fun as fuck action movie, and like you don't get that a lot of times now. Like normally it's just like a shitty action movie. That's what I've seen a lot recently. It was just like a shitty fucking action movie. This was actually kind of fun. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I had a good time with it. I had beefs. I had beefs, but the aside from the beefs, movie was pretty decent. Movie was pretty decent.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't that bad.
Yeah. Hey, I give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, it seems about right. So should we move on to the top five now, or should we do another movie?
Top 5 Tommy Cruise movies. If we do another
Absolutely.
movie, it won't be right beside the Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah,
We got
right.
we got to do it now. We got to do it now for
Okay, yeah, sounds good.
being topical. All right, you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
You can go first.
Okay, my number 5 Tom Cruise movie is Jerry Maguire.
Jerry.
Don't like sports movies, and I sure as fuck don't like romance movies, but for some reason this movie breaks the barrier of both those things.
I think it's the Cuba.
Yeah, fucking the Cuba, right? The Cuba.
Yep.
And of course the little kid who ended up being in Stuart Little is also
Yeah, that guy. That
That's
dude's
also
probably
awesome.
doing okay right now, doing a bunch of meth or something.
Oh no, dude, he looks bad. If you've seen the way he looks now, he is one of the ugliest humans. He's so ugly.
Yeah. I do like that movie. It just barely missed my top five, actually. That'd probably be my number six.
Yeah.
It's a show me the money, Chadley.
Show me the money.
It's got a lot
Show
of
me
quotes.
the
I think
money.
that's
Show
part
me
why
the
I
money.
like it.
Yeah,
Like
it's
if you go back and you ask someone about Jerry Maguire, you're like, did you like Jerry Maguire? And they'll just throw you a quote, like, because there's a lot of quotes in it. Like, show me the money being probably the bigger one.
No. There's one that's bigger than show me the money. The quote.
Yes, you're right. The quote.
You had me at hello.
Yeah, you're right.
Fucking son. We live in a cynical world. Okay, what's your number 5?
My number five is just Mission Impossible as like a series. I did that more so because they're important to his career, and
Yeah.
I like a couple of them.
I agree. They were definitely the start of like this whole Tom Cruise running in every single movie thing that
Yeah,
started.
yeah, absolutely. The new one's really good actually. Like I saw that.
I've heard it. I've not seen Ghost Protocol.
The first one's really outdated, although I still kind of like it. The second one's pretty trash. Like
Oh really? I actually kind of like the second one.
it's not bad, but it's certainly one of the weaker ones. And I actually do like the third one a lot, just because Philip Seymour Hoffman's the bad guy, and that's fucking awesome.
Yeah, Philip Seymour Hoffman's good, and
And then the fourth one's really good. Like he does like he's the main part of it, but there's a lot of side things I like in all those movies that you know
yeah,
Simon Pegg. There's some things I like about him. They're
fair
fun.
enough. Fair enough. Okay, my number 4 is a really fucking awesome movie called Interview with a Vampire.
I've never seen. That's one of the Tom Cruise
Really?
movies I've never seen. Yeah.
Fucking awesome. It's him and Brad Pitt, and they make this girl a vampire, and then they gotta fucking like care for her and shit, and it's fucking awesome. Like Tom Cruise is the bad guy, and Brad Pitt is the
Yeah.
good guy. Like they're like brothers or something, or like friends or something like. But whatever. They're both vampires.
I don't see
And,
them
like,
on the same screen very often too. So.
Yeah, there's like the conflict where Brad Pitt wants to do the right thing, whereas Tom Cruise wants to do the right thing for the species, and weed out the weaker people. And like it's quite interesting. It's interesting because it's one of those movies where you can see both sides. You
Right.
can see the merit in both sides. And yeah, Tom Cruise is an evil bastard in it, but I could be getting this wrong. It might be Brad Pitt that's the bad guy, but I'm pretty sure it's Tom Cruise.
I like Tom Cruise as a bad guy, and you'll see that later on. But yeah,
Well, it's because he is an asshole himself. From
that's
what I've
why
heard.
he's
So
good at it. Like,
he
you want
plays
to
such
hate
a
him.
good cocksucker.
Oh yeah.
All right, your number 4?
My number four. This one's not really a Tom Cruise movie, but I just really like him in this. This is Tropic Thunder.
This was one that came very close.
I mean, obviously he's only in it for like a bit of it, but like he's so good in it. Like, just
Yeah,
like
he's really funny in this.
I heard they were doing like a spin-off of him too. his character from that at some point, but that probably died. That's
Probably died seeing as that movie came out like almost like 7 or 8 years ago.
yeah, like '08 or something. It's pretty old.
Jesus. That came out that long ago. God
Yeah.
damn.
It was like '06 or '08, man.
I
Yeah,
remember
I
it
like
was
that movie though.
I remember it was the same year as The Dark Knight because there was two silly Oscar nominations. Heath Ledger, who got that because he died, let's be honest, he got the
Hmm.
Oscar nod for that as the Joker, and Robert Downey Jr. as the black guy. And
Yeah, that
that's
was
like one of
weird.
that was like one of the least deserving Oscar nominations I've ever seen in my life.
He's probably embarrassed about that too. Like, I got
Probably-
nommed for this.
That's like last week I was watching Weird Science and fucking Robert
I love
Downey
Weird
Jr.
Science.
Robert Downey Jr. is in it. Is like the age of like 17 or 18, and he looks like one of those 80s people who would wear like lipstick in a music video. Like that's what he fucking looks like to me.
Absolutely.
He's a wild man. Did you just go or did I just go?
I just went.
Okay, so my number 3
Wait,
is an awesome movie.
Are you number 3 or what was your number 4?
Interview with a Vampire.
Oh, what was your number 5?
Jerry Maguire.
Oh yeah. Okay, yeah.
Are
You're
you
right.
paying attention, bro?
Sort of, not really.
Number 3 is A Few Good Men,
Pretty good, man. Yeah, it's pretty good.
starring him and Jack Nicholson.
Jackie boy.
Jack Nicholson. This is another movie that I really like because of the quotability of the movie.
Mhm.
One of the most famous quotes in movie history is in this movie. Of course, it's "You can't handle the truth."
Yeah, absolutely.
Great movie.
Tommy's been in a lot of quote movies, that's for sure.
Mhm. Yeah, A Few Good Men. It's fucking excellent. It's all about liberation and freedom and rights.
I haven't
and all
seen that
that
in a long time. I
shit.
might have to rewatch that at some point.
Yeah, I recommend it. It's really good.
I remember liking it. It's just been so long. I don't know. I
Right.
rewatched a few for this just so I could refresh myself. My number 3 is Rain Man.
Rain Man, fucking
Rain
A.
Man.
Dustin Hoffman taking him to Vegas and whatnot.
Yeah, there's so many like just classic scenes in this, like taking him to Vegas and like I don't
This
know.
movie, Rain Man, is really good, but it's the kind of movie that if it were released today, it wouldn't fly.
Yeah, well,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
you can't really.
It
You can't
wouldn't
go
fly.
full autistic really anymore.
Yeah, and if you do, you certainly can't exploit it.
That's true for sure. Yeah, it's definitely a part of its time. I don't know. I like Dustin Hoffman doing full autism. That's good.
Yeah,
That's
he's
really
good.
he steals the show.
Yeah, for sure. And
Tom Cruise as an asshole, like it shows up a lot in my the ones I like of his. But yeah,
he's a cock. Speaking of Tom Cruise as a cock, my number 2 movie is a movie where he's probably the biggest cock in any movie he's ever been in. My number 2 is a movie called Collateral.
yep.
It came out in '04 with him and Jamie Foxx, and he is the biggest son of a bitch in it. It's
Oh yeah,
he's like a cab driver, and he
I
won't
watched
let-
that one this morning.
Yeah,
It's so good.
fucking awesome, right? So yeah, I love Collateral.
There's something I love about like that gray hair Tom Cruise too. Like he
Yeah,
just
yeah.
looks like a fucking badass, and like Jamie Foxx kills it.
Yeah, both are quite excellent, and it's actually just like a really fucking good movie too.
Absolutely. My number 2, Top Gun.
Top Gun, all right.
It's not a good movie. Now, it's not a good movie, but it's like one of his most iconic movies, and that's why it's on here.
Top Gun.
you
Gun to me is like in the same boat as Con Air. It's certainly not good.
But yeah, but it's
I
just
fucking
so
love
much
it.
fun. Like
Yeah.
it's like there's people who have written articles about like all the homosexual undertones, and it's basically just Tom Cruise with his shirt off playing volleyball set to Kenny Loggins. It's like it's one of the most ridiculous movies of all time, but it's so fun to watch. I don't know why. Like
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I do agree though. I fucking love Top Gun.
yeah,
My number 1 is one that we already talked about. My number 1 is Rain Man.
yeah, absolutely.
Fucking awesome movie. We already talked about it though. Let's move forward.
My number 1 is one we already talked about too. That's Collateral.
Fucking right.
I fucking
Look at
love
this.
Collateral.
We're so in sync. We're fucking so in sync.
Well,
Yeah.
since this went so fast, we could talk about some of his other movies that he's been in that were good, but just didn't hit the list, you know. Let me think. You know what? I think we might have covered them all.
Actually, you know what? You know what movie I really like, and a lot of people don't, but I really like it, is War of the Worlds.
I don't think
I
I've ever
think
seen that.
I think War of the Worlds. It's him and what's that girl who was in like everything in 2002? What was her name? Little
Yeah.
girl and everything. Dakota Fanning. That's
Yeah,
it.
I
That's
think
it,
so.
right?
I heard
Yeah.
she's in. I heard she's nude in a new movie.
Oh, neat. But anyway,
Well, yeah, yeah. I think we covered all the ones that he was like really good in. But you know what? I kind of like this movie. Eyes Wide Shut. Kind of like
Eyes
Eyes
Wide
Wide Shut.
Eyes Wide Shut is good. Is that an Aronofsky movie?
That is Kubrick's last movie.
Oh, Kubrick, right? Kubrick.
I like that secret society shit. I think that's awesome. Like and like because it's a Kubrick movie, there's so much like underlying shit. Like you'll go look if you type in Eyes Wide Shut into Google, there's like thousands of articles and now analyzing every like detail in that movie. Like
hmm
it's packed full of stuff. Like every time you watch it, it's kind of a slow movie, but like every time you watch it, there's something new that you see in it. And
Another really good Tom Cruise movie, and this is another one that people fucking hate on so much, but I love it, and I don't know why. Is Vanilla Sky?
I've
Fucking,
never seen that, but it's
oh,
on
it's
Netflix. So I was
so
gonna check it out.
it's so fucking weird, but it's awesome. Like this would have been my number 6 for sure.
Yeah,
Like for sure. Like
I
Vanilla
like.
Sky is
I
so
kind
good.
of like. I don't love it, but I do kind of like Minority Report. Like,
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Yeah, I like Minority Report. It's fun to watch, right?
yeah, it's a
Uh,
guilty pleasure. It's not like there's nothing great about it, but it's
What
pretty
was
good.
what was that one that he did that was really fucking good in like 2004 and it got like nominated for a bunch of Oscars and shit. And I don't remember what it was called, but it was really good.
Uh,
Um
wh-
oh shit, I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember it being good. The Last Samurai, that's what it
The
was.
Last Samurai.
The
Yeah,
Last Samurai is fucking boss too. Like
I've never
there's
seen that. He's
he's
a
good
movie
in
star, man. Like everything he's in is fucking good,
well,
except for the
I
new shit though. Like
dude, he did so many bad movies in the last few years. Jack Reacher,
Jack
uh
Reacher, yeah, Rock of
fucking
Ages,
Rock of Ages, yeah.
Night and Day.
Night and Day, Valkyrie.
Yeah, like those are all
Like
fucking horrible. I like Oblivion though. That came out like
I've
last year,
not
I
seen it.
think.
I've not seen it. Or
It's
have
good.
I?
It's really good.
Wait, what's it about?
It's like a sci-fi movie where he's like, it's like him and one other
Oh,
chick
yeah,
left
yeah,
on Earth.
him and Morgan Freeman, right?
I think Morgan. I don't know. I can't remember.
I remember my dad saying that movie was good, but I never saw it.
Yeah, Morgan. Yeah, it is Morgan Freeman. It's like him and one other person left on Earth, and he's got to like take care of all the robots and shit.
My dad is like the hugest Tom Cruise fan. Like my dad fucking goes hard for the Tom Cruise.
You gotta check out Oblivion. It's good, dude.
Yeah, that's what my dad was saying. But yeah, so I'll put that onto the list of movies to check out.
Yeah. But Tom Cruise, man, he's a movie star. Like
He's awesome. Like I
he's
get that
the
people
movie
don't like
star.
his personality, but fucking get over it. Like he's dope.
Yeah.
DOF, bro.
There's like
DOF.
he's been in a lot of movies too. I haven't even seen them all. You know what's one of the worst movies I've ever seen that he's in? Fucking Days of Thunder. You ever seen that shit?
No, I've never
Days
seen
of
it.
Thunder is fucking horrible. It's like a race car movie, and like he just shows up to like the NASCAR track, and they're like, "This guy's the best there is." He's like riding a motorcycle, and like all of a sudden he just gets in and he's just the best. Like it's just so fucking bad. Like
Do you ever see that movie that came out in the 80s and like Tom Cruise is in a wheelchair in it?
oh yeah, I don't know what that one was.
Born on the 4th of July.
Right, I've heard that's all right.
Yeah, it's pretty damn good. I'd say that would be in my top 10 if I made a top 10.
Yeah,
But yeah, that movie's also pretty good. And of course, like we can't even talk about Tom Cruise if we don't mention Risky Business.
right.
A
Risky
goddamn
Business.
a goddamn classic.
A lot of his early stuff was weird.
Yeah, like Cocktail. Cocktail's
I
weird.
I didn't see any of that.
Cocktail's real fucking weird. And yeah, I don't know.
I've heard The
Fucking
Color of Money is pretty good. Scorsese.
yeah, legend as well. He did like a fucking million movies, I swear. Like I could keep coming up with different Tom Cruise movies for like hours.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to our next movie. Million Ways to Die in the West.
Million Ways to Die in the West, starring Seth MacF.
Seth MacF, Liam Neeson.
Liam Neeson.
Got
Is
that
it a-
Sarah Silverman. You got Giovanni.
Giovanni Ribisi. Anything with
Chadley's a
Giovanni.
big Ribisi fan, so I knew he was gonna like this one.
Anything with Ribisi. Anything with Ribisi, I'm so down. Even that shitty
Neil Patrick Harris.
Mark Wahlberg movie. What was that Mark Wahlberg
Oh,
movie he was in?
yeah.
Or they're stealing
Contraband.
Contraband. Yeah. Even that movie. Like the movie was shitty, but
Oh, that
fucking
movie
Giovanni
fucking blows,
Ribisi.
dude.
That Giovanni Ribisi scenes were just he was so awesome in that movie. Fucking sweet. And like even though personally I don't like the movie Ted, last Seth MacFarlane movie,
Yeah.
Giovanni Ribisi was
Are they like friends or like?
they must be, right? They must be.
Because it's
They've
so
gotta be.
weird.
I think like there's a few people in here that you can kind of tell.
Well, I know Sarah Silverman is his friend for sure. Like they hang out all the time.
And Patrick Stewart is also a McFarlane friend
Okay.
because he's on American Dad.
Right.
Yeah, so they fucks around sometimes. My biggest problem with A Million Ways in the West is actually the same problem that I had with Ted, is that I don't like it when a narrator tries to put in little jokes. Like I don't like I don't like when the narrator puts in little jokes. Like I don't like that. I just want the narrator to tell it how it is, you know?
Yeah.
But thankfully there was less narrator in this movie than there was in Ted. And in Ted I feel like they wanted to juice the narrator because it was Patrick Stewart. But
yeah.
I'm gonna before we jump right into this, I'm gonna say this straight up right now. I liked A Million Ways to Die in the West a lot more than I liked Ted.
I would agree with that.
I didn't think neither are awesome.
No, they both suffer from the same thing where it's like there's not really a plot. Like
yeah. And here's the thing about A Million Ways to Die in the West is that
they're gimmick movies more than anything.
Most of the jokes in A Million Ways to Die in the West are like, ugh, so bad.
Well, because it's a gimmick movie, they're like making fun of things that happen. Like,
one in every 10 jokes was not only funny, but it was like hilarious.
Yeah.
Like fucking hilarious. But
well, I mean,
the other 9 jokes are painful.
It's kind of like the Family Guy thing. Like he's a good writer, but like he phones it in a lot.
Yeah.
But like
he takes the obvious route on a lot of jokes.
Yes, absolutely. There's like most of the jokes went along the same lines of like specifically the one I'm thinking of is when they like showed like the old-timey pictures and like they're not smiling in it, and then like they're like, you can't smile in pictures, you know.
Yeah, like because they used to didn't smile. Good stuff. But
people would think you're crazy.
Yeah. There's a lot of that sort of humor, and I agree. And then like they had the one picture of the guy who smiled, and they're like, he's a madman. Yeah, I don't know. Not very funny. Who was the girl in this? Was it another one of those British Emily girls? I couldn't even tell you who.
Yeah, it's weird that I can't remember that. I watched it 2 days ago.
Yeah, I watched it a few nights ago. I actually.
It was Charlize Theron.
Oh, Charlize Theron, yeah, and she was pretty good. She played the hot girl pretty well.
Yeah, she's good.
Amanda Seyfried is a human I don't think I can do any more of.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I can't, and like I liked it in this movie. She was villainized a little bit.
She's like shitty. What's that chick from Spider-Man?
Emma Stone.
Yeah, she's like shitty Emma Stone.
Yeah, kind of.
They look similar, and they do the same thing basically.
Yeah, except Emma Stone is hotter. But
I mean, they're very similar.
Yeah, there was definitely some good stuff in here, right? Okay, first of all, Liam Neeson is a badass.
Yeah, he was perfect in this movie.
Let's get that right out of the fucking way. What I liked about Liam Neeson's character is that he never made jokes, you know? Every other character was throwing in little jokes, but Liam Neeson just he came in and he was like, if I'm going to play this badass character...
Well, I think they did it that way because there's really like 2 bad guys in it. There's like Liam Neeson and then Neil Patrick Harris to a lesser degree. But he was like the joke bad guy, and then Liam Neeson, he was the fucking bad guy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like fucking Liam Neeson was Shredder, and fucking Neil Patrick Harris was Bebop and Rocksteady, really. And also, here's another thing. Neil Patrick Harris is good. A, I want to see him do a I'm a player, woman, man role.
Yeah.
B, what was with that phony voice that he put on for the whole movie?
I don't know. It
It
was
took
weird.
me right out of it. Like he was like, "Oh, I'm Neil Patrick Harris."
He was doing he was doing
Nobody
fake
talked like
old
that.
timey, right? Like
Nobody ever talked like that. That is something that they made up in 50s Western movies. I swear to Christ, nobody ever talked like that. And even if
yeah.
they did talk like that, where do you have solid proof that that's how they
He
spoke?
was great in this though. He was great.
You know what? I didn't love him. He had some really good lines. One of my favorite
Yeah.
lines is when he's talking to Seth MacFarlane in the mustachery.
Yeah.
Also, there's a haha joke there for you, mustachery. But he's talking to Neil Patrick Harris, and he goes, "There's a lot of things that I can give her. I can give her wrapped candies. Can you give her wrapped candies?" Like I thought that was hilarious, just based on that's like one of those like old timey jokes that I was actually like, you know what, that's funny.
Yeah.
But it was because of his delivery that it was so funny.
This movie had like a crazy cast though. Like everyone in it was famous.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely. Of course, we got the Ribisi, sir, and I love Ribisi, but
the Ribisi storyline was kind of enjoyable.
it was. But here's my beef is that they had the Ribisi storyline going where he wanted to fuck his prostitute girlfriend, and she's like, oh, and you know what? Actually, pretty funny. She's a prostitute and she wants to wait till marriage. Actually,
Yeah.
a pretty funny concept.
Good
And
concept.
and they did it well too. But here's my big beef with that is that they were doing that storyline and then they dropped it for like 45 minutes and we didn't hear about it for like 45 minutes.
Yeah,
And then they
this
just
movie
like they picked it up again.
it weird pacing. I mean, I don't know. I guess because Seth's used to like 20-minute
Yeah.
storylines. Like I don't know what the problem was, but like his movies are always weird paced.
Yeah, the same problem with Ted.
Yeah.
This movie had a lot of the same problems with Ted, but the thing is like people
He's getting
watched
better
Ted.
though. He's getting better.
People watched Ted and they're like, "Oh my God, it's Peter Griffin as a teddy bear smoking pot,"
Sure.
and
Yeah.
then they just kind of forgot to look past that it was a teddy bear smoking pot and see that it was a movie. Like they
Right.
were just like, "Oh my God, it's Family Guy, but on TV or not TV, on the movie screen." I don't know. People and with this movie, I feel like this movie was reviewed so poorly because there wasn't that big gimmick. Like there was a gimmick. It was in a West, but it was a
Yeah.
Western comedy, much like Blazing Saddles. But because with Ted, there has never been a movie about a fucking teddy bear smoking pot.
Right.
So people just saw that, laughed at it, and looked past it, didn't think of it as a movie. There are other movies like this. So there's a lot that they had to put into consideration when making this movie that I think they didn't.
Yeah.
Is that they couldn't just like freeball it off a gimmick.
That's really what like I don't think Seth will ever do anything that's not like a gimmick movie though. Like
Yeah, and I don't think he will either. But the thing is that's neither did Mel Brooks.
yeah, I guess. Yeah.
And all of Mel Brooks' movies are hilarious and brilliant.
Sure.
They have good pacing. I think the biggest problem here is that Seth MacFarlane needs to come out of TV writing.
Yeah.
Like he needs to if he wants to write movies, he needs to come away from the way that you write for TV and write for movies.
I'd agree with that. Because, like, there's a lot of times in this and Ted where you're like, oh, that's just Family Guy joke that they did here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a throwaway. It's like it was on the cutting room floor of a Family Guy episode. They're like, they picked it up and they're like, well, we could use this. This would be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It was that being said, I liked the movie, and Seth MacFarlane's character was really likable. I liked his character, and
He's not that bad of an actor either, which is like
which I found surprising.
kind of surprising.
Most voice actors aren't good at on-screen stuff, but he was
Right,
good.
'cause there's a lot of facial shit that doesn't really happen, I guess, if you're a voice actor.
And another really weird thing about this, and this is just a really weird thing about this movie, is that for what, 10 years, we've all been well aware of Seth MacFarlane. He's been very prevalent. This is the first time we've actually seen him.
Yeah.
Other than when he hosted the Oscars. This is the first time we've actually seen him, doing what he does in an actual non-cartoon, non-voicing format.
There's, that part where he was like, he met like the natives and they were doing like mushrooms or ayahuasca or
Yeah,
some shit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And the funniest part about that was like trying to like listen to all the stuff he was saying in the fake Indian language. Like he threw like Mila Kunis in there a couple times.
Yeah, yeah. He was just saying stuff, which I think is pretty funny. But there was like, don't get me wrong, this was better than Ted, and like he's for sure getting there. That Seth MacFarlane with writing movies.
Yeah.
This wasn't perfect. My biggest problem with this movie is that I say that a lot. My biggest problem, and then like I have like 10 biggest problems with every movie. But a big problem with this movie is that it was very predictable. Like it sort of felt like a cut and paste script that they then went in and inserted jokes into. You know,
Yeah.
it was the second I saw Charlize Theron, I was like, oh, she's gonna end up with Seth MacFarlane. That's how this ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was pretty obvious.
They
throughout.
they they made there wasn't much hiding the foreshadowing in this movie. That's for sure. But overall, it's funny.
Pretty decent.
Like it's funny. I talked about this. I talked about this at work this week. It's funny. It's fucking funny, and that's what I want from a movie like this, right? Is I want it to be funny.
Absolutely. I think we've like hit that for both these movies this week. Like Edge of Tomorrow, it was like a good action movie. Like
Yeah,
this,
and this
good comedy.
absolutely, absolutely. Would I ever? I think the difference is though is that I don't think I would ever watch Edge of Tomorrow again. I feel like I would watch this A Million Ways to Die in the West again.
I mean,
I feel like I
it's
would
one of
watch
those
this.
ones like I would watch with like if somebody put it on and they're like, "Hey, you want to
Yeah.
watch this?" I'm like, "Okay."
Like if my brother
But
came
I
down
think
and
I
was
would
like,
watch Edge of Tomorrow again too if someone was putting it on. They're like, "You want to watch Edge of Tomorrow?" I'd be like, "All right."
all right, yeah, I see your point there, and yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. Who else was even in this fucking movie? Sarah Silverman. Oh yeah. Here's the deal. Here's the dealio. Is that another thing that Seth MacFarlane writes for, and he really needs to come away for, is like the poop jokes. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like for fuck's sake, it's 2014. Like we're all kind of over poop jokes, and like
Even kids don't think it's funny anymore.
right, even fucking kids, they shit themselves and they don't think shitting themselves is funny. They'll like shit in their pants, look at it, and then be like, wait a minute, that's a poop joke, and Dad's like, yeah, and they're like, I don't think that's very funny at
And the
all,
kid's
Dad.
like, "Give me a beer, Dad."
Yeah, exactly. It's sort of like it was funny for a few years, and now he thinks it's still funny, and that's upsetting. And it's upsetting because I know based on other things that Seth MacFarlane does, like the funny jokes in this movie, I know that he knows what funny is,
Yeah.
but
Like,
he's just going off some shitty demographic of what people think funny
but I
is.
think that's another like TV thing, right?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. He like we said a million times. He needs to write a movie.
Yeah.
This would have been better
Because
as
like
literally.
he's a good writer. Like, there's no denying that he's a good writer.
This would have been
Um,
better as a mini series, like legit.
I would watch the shit out of that.
Fucking right. Remember he did that like he used to do like fucking TV shows. He used to have like TV show one seasoners all the time. Like he did that one with Rob Corddry called The Winner or something like that. Remember?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember that? Like he used to do one
I
shots.
remember Rob Corddry being in a lot of stuff like
Yeah.
5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah, he was in all things, but fucking Rob. The thing about that show is that it suffered the same thing that these two movies had. 9 out of every 10 jokes was really bad, but then when there was a funny joke, it was really fucking funny.
Yeah. Well, I'm guessing he's gonna make another movie, and like hopefully he breaks the mold a bit more. Like they're getting like from the two he's made so far, like they're getting better.
You know what I hope he does? Honestly, I hope that he runs his fucking cartoons, his like American Dad and his Family Guy. I hope he runs them until he doesn't need them anymore in like a year or two. I want him to end those series. I,
I
I
don't.
like them. I like them. Don't get me wrong. I like Family Guy and I like American Dad, but I want him to end those series because I want him to legitimately focus on being a filmmaker because I think he could make really funny movies.
Yeah, I agree. I haven't. It's like I haven't watched like Family Guy or American Dad in like probably like 6 years. So like I don't even know
Well,
what's going on with those franchises right now.
yeah, I have no idea either. But I will watch an old season like it's like of Family Guy, and I will still laugh at the same jokes that I used to laugh at when I was a kid.
Yeah, yeah. I'll throw on like if it's like late at night and like I need something to put on the TV. If like Family Guy or American Dad or Simpsons even is on, I'll throw it on. But like
I'm not going out of my way to
yeah,
watch it. And that's the difference here is that when I heard about this movie, I went out of my way to watch it. And like I do that much more for movies than I do for TV shows, just because with TV shows there's fucking you have to have time.
it's true.
You have to have like if you want to watch a season of a TV show, you gotta have like 4 nights.
Yeah, that is one thing that I like about movies is like you watch it like
One
2 hours,
shotter.
2 hours, you're done. That's
Yeah,
it, completed.
fucking one shot. I agree.
But you know, there's a lot of good TV out there, and
That's true. That's true. And that's
sometimes you gotta commit.
the best TV shows though act like are written like movies. Do you know what I mean? The
Now,
best
yeah,
Breaking Bad and Game of Thrones, those aren't written like TV shows. Those are written like movies.
absolutely. But there's like a lot of good stuff that sort
Mhm.
of like it's that's only a recent trend, like that movies have kind of shifted influence on TV. Like they used to be like a good example of this is like X-Files, right? Like they did like they had stories like that. Like they had a full story that was like written
But everything would ultimately end up being the same
right, because
at
like
the end of every
they
episode.
had like the full arc of like all the alien shit, and then like every couple episodes they'd have like Monster of the Week shit. That was basically just a CSI episode, but with monsters, right? Like
Mhm.
obviously this came first, this is like predecessor to that shit, but like that's one thing. Like there's a lot of shows like that that they're good, but they're not as good as Breaking Bad just because they're stuck in that TV format, you know.
Exactly, and I think TV writing in general is something that we kind of need to let go of. A really good example of really bad TV writing is The Big Bang Theory. Is that
Yeah.
that show is just so stuck in TV writing that
It's just the problem that they're bringing down like 16 million views an episode compared to any other show that makes a quarter of that, right?
exactly because it's people who are just looking for something mindless, right?
Yeah.
And there's too many people in the world looking for something mindless that they don't have to think about.
Have you seen that video on YouTube of Big Bang without the laugh track?
No, that
It's
sounds amazing.
fucking incredible. Like you just see the jokes fall flat. Like you're like, I can't believe like this is real. Like,
Yeah,
can't believe it's a real show.
I'm gonna look that up after this podcast because that sounds
Yeah.
hilarious.
So we're running low on time here, so let's go to Dr. No here.
Yeah, let's spit this out real quick. First of all, James Bond, Sean Connery, original fucking badass.
Oh yeah,
He fucks
absolutely.
bitches and takes names in this movie.
That's all he does. This was like you could tell this is like a bottle. Like you know in TV when they do a bottle episode where it's all like in the same room and like it's just to save budget for like one of their bigger. And it's
Yeah,
like this was a low budget movie. Like most of it like I did like though that it's like like it's set in
on the island. Yeah.
Jamaica. Yeah, like that's cool. Like I like James Bond in an exotic setting. Like that's like what they did really good in like the new James Bond movies where he's just like all over the place, like he's in Japan or whatever. Like
Yeah. I do agree. I do agree that maybe he could have, explored a little bit beyond Jamaica. It was one of those things where it's like
they didn't know, right? Like it's the first one. They're like, is this gonna be good? We'll make it for $1 million. Like
this movie didn't have enough backstory to it,
yeah, it's true. You're just kind of thrown into this
Yeah,
character.
you're thrown into it, and because it's the first movie of the franchise, yeah, I would like a little bit of backstory. That's why I think the new James Bond movies worked so well with Daniel Craig,
Yeah,
because they had
I would
Casino
agree with that.
Royale. They had Casino Royale, which was to show off, show the character, show who he is, show why he is the way he is, and then
Mhm.
they used Quantum of Solace, which, despite what people say, I actually kind of like.
It's
Just to be an action fuckhole
I
right?
watched it again like more recently, and it wasn't as bad as I remember the first
Yeah,
time.
right. Yeah, I watched it. I watched it about a couple of months ago with my
Yeah, I saw it a
girlfriend
couple months too. Yeah.
because she was like, "Oh, I want to see all these Daniel Craig Bond movies," and I was like, "Okay, you don't want to see the second one." And then we watched the second one, and I was like, "That was actually pretty good."
There's just some shit that I don't like in it still, but like it's not as bad as I remember.
Yeah, and Skyfall, of course.
Skyfall's a fucking masterpiece, though.
Yeah, it's of course the best of the three for sure. Skyfall is fucking amazing. I can't wait to see what they do with James Bond next because I was really wary of Skyfall. I was very weary. I thought, you know what, this is just gonna be another cut and paste Bond movie, just like fucking Quantum. And as much as I like Quantum, yeah, it's kind of cut and paste.
Yeah, it is. But like Skyfall, dude, they run you through the gambit of emotions and that shit. Like
Yeah, and fucking
it's so well done. Like every aspect of it, like just like from the visuals to the music, everything fit in perfectly. I was like, goddamn,
yeah,
that's a good movie.
it's a goddamn good movie. What was? Oh yeah, we were talking about Quantum of Solace. What I never realized is that if you watch all three movies in succession, Quantum of Solace starts literally like 5 minutes after Casino Royale ends.
Interesting.
Like I never noticed that until I
Yeah,
watched all three in succession.
I don't think I've noticed that either.
It's
But
like a
anyway, back to Doctor
continuation.
No. Back to Doctor No. We'll talk about these more in detail later.
Yeah.
um,
Doctor No. Of course the sexy bitches, right?
oh, Honey Rider. Ooh,
Honey
ooh,
Rider.
the original Bond girl.
Yeah, that's right. That girl's 60s hot.
Oh yeah, fuck yeah, dude. But
I like that
she had a
she's.
bang in the '60s body though. Like,
I also like that she's like perpetually in a bikini. Like,
yeah,
she's
yeah,
never. She's like never not in a bikini.
yeah. Super
Fucking
weird accent, like just like
yeah.
classic Bond girl. Like
Fucking amazing. So good. But
this
Doctor
movie
No.
specifically, I just want to talk about the beginning really for just 1 second. Like, it starts off weirder than like any movie ever. Like, it transitions from like the James Bond like sexy like '60s intro to like three blind black dudes just like walking down the street. You're like, what is happening? This
what
is so weird.
what a strange way to go from point A to point B.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Doctor No is also such a fucking badass.
Yeah, I mean,
Such the original chair swiveler.
yeah.
Fucking so
He's got the
bomb.
metal hands. Like
Yeah.
he's a decent bad guy to like begin with. Like I feel like a lot of the James Bond bad guys are kind of modeled in the same way. Like they just have like something specifically wrong with them. Like
Like the guy who can the best Bond villain, and I can't wait till we get to these movies so we can talk them about. And you know exactly what I'm gonna say, right?
yeah,
Fucking Jaws.
yeah. Jaws is amazing. Right?
Fucking Jaws. Yeah. He died this week.
He died this week, which is like that sucks. He was old though, but like he's amazing in that movie. By the way, like.
Yeah.
I just love that every James Bond movie or villain have kind of like one specific. They've kind of moved away from that now, but like in like the.
I don't know if that's actually necessarily true.
I guess not. Yeah.
In Casino Royale, there's the guy who cries blood. I don't remember much about Quantum of Solace, but in fucking what was the other one? In Skyfall, that guy was mad fucked up.
Yeah, but like
Yeah,
it wasn't one specific thing, really, was it?
it was his face. It was his fucking face. That's what it was.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just like, yeah, I guess that's kind of like the cookie cutter for a Bond villain. Like they have something wrong with them. And it's like,
Something physically is not really simpatico.
yeah, the metal hands. Like I know we're skipping ahead of it, but it doesn't really matter. When he's like dying and he's like trying to claw onto that metal thing and he's got
Yeah.
the metal hands, like that's such a good scene. Even though like everything's like horribly '60s and shit in this, but like there's like a lot of '60s dialogue, you know,
Yeah.
like
Sean Connery likes to mumble his way through an action movie, basically.
yeah, yeah.
This is Sean Connery.
He's a badass though, dude. Like
He's perfect. He's a perfect Bond.
there's one part that I really like is when he's like crawling through that hot tube, and like when he first tries to pull the grate off, it's too hot and he flies back. But then he like kicks it in and just crawls into the hot tube. Like, wouldn't the rest of the tube also be hot? Like,
Sean Connery don't give a fuck.
and then like he's crawling through it, and like he gets to a point where it's really hot, so like he has to take off his shirt to use his like, and then like just water comes through the tube. Just the only reason water came through that tube is so they could show the steam effect. But what was weird is like at the end of that tube, you know what there is, Chadley?
What's that?
Fucking great. So what kind of tube was that he was crawling through? Like at first I thought it was a heat vent, but then all this water starts coming through. Were they gonna drown him? Like what was?
Uh,
It's
fuck,
the one thing that bothered me. Like what kind of
fuck.
tube was it?
It didn't need to be any kind of tube. You know what kind of tube it was? It
Uh,
was let's get Sean Connery's fucking shirt off kind of tube.
yeah, yeah.
It was the 60s. Women like lost their panties over Sean Conn.
Well, he's a stud, you know. He's a specimen. He's a fine specimen.
But what I find about James Bond is, with the exception of maybe Roger Moore,
Hmm.
every James Bond has created their own sort of version of James Bond and played it perfectly.
Yeah,
Roger
absolutely.
Moore, Roger Moore, he's
We'll
okay.
get to that. We'll get to that.
He's all right.
But like, yeah, they're all unique to the character, you know.
Yeah, Sean Connery. Sean Connery is. I want to say maybe the best one, but Pierce Brosnan's pretty damn good
You know,
too.
they're like, there's a lot of good ones, and then
The
there's
thing,
bad
the
bad
thing,
ones.
the thing with Pierce Brosnan though is that he was so good at portraying the character. It's just too bad that he got all the shittiest scripts. Like
Yeah, that's true.
like besides Goldeneye, the Pierce Brosnan movies are a fucking
There's not
disaster.
like I couldn't even name them for the most part. Like they're just like
Li- uh,
sentences.
Die Another Day, I think one was called.
Live and let. No, no.
Live and Let Die. I think that's a Roger Moore. I
Maybe.
could be wrong. That might be a
All I know
Connery.
is like at some point they just became like sentences instead of like
Yeah.
that's like that's the same thing I have problems with like metal bands and shit. They all have like sentences for their band names. It's like one or two words, man. One or two words. No, it's like between the buried and I. It's like that's too much. It's like being as an ocean. Okay, metal band. That's too many syllables. And
Yeah.
like as an ocean, like don't do that.
And
Like
you know that people who print off the tickets for venues hate that shit because they gotta shrink the font to get it to fit on the fucking ticket.
there's like those are probably bad examples, but there's so many like just shitty metal bands and like it's only specific to metal too. Like no other genre does this, where they just have a sentence as their band name, and you're like, fucking don't do that. Like one or two words. It's not
I'm
that
trying.
hard. There's a lot of words.
I'm trying to think of like a hip hop band that does that, but I can't. I can't.
I mean, sometimes group names get a little long, like a Tribe Called Quest. That's a little long, but like, you know, good, still good.
Still good.
But yeah,
We understand because A Tribe Called Quest is very good. The thing is that all of those shitty metal bands, they all sound the same.
they're all very, very similar, very similar in execution. Anyway, back to James
Doctor
Bond.
No.
We'll just talk just a little bit more about it. Like, I really like when he like is in that suit in the lab at the end when they're about to fire that missile, and like
Fuck yeah.
and they're like, Chen, where is Chen? And then he's like, they're like, he's over there, and he's like, it's just fucking Sean Connery clearly in the suit. And they like make him go do that thing. That's a great scene. Like it's kind of like it's not even that climactic really, but
that
like
that scene is good because it really shows how much the film industry has changed, you
yeah,
know? Like
absolutely.
people like you could put on like a fake mustache and glasses in the 60s and there's a disguise. There you go. Pull it
Yeah,
off. Amazing.
this is pretty fun. It's a bit slow paced, but like it's a good one to
It
watch.
was
Like
it was a bit too long, I felt.
yeah, it's
Uh,
2 hours and like a lot of it's kind of nothing's happening. It's like
yeah.
but that's like kind of how shit was. Like if you watch Star Trek the original series, it reminds me a lot of like any movie that was kind of made out around this time. There's like a lot of like open space when they'll like say something and then wait a second and then the next actor will say his lines and then they'll like wait a second. It's kind of weird and like everything's floaty. Like
Yeah, because at that time film acting was still very similar to stage acting,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and like I'm glad we came out of that, and now we just need to come out of TV writing, right? But
I mean, obviously everything gets to the best possible point it can as
exactly.
evolution.
And that's where film is right now. I feel like the video game industry is getting pretty close to that.
I'd say they're
Uh,
close.
yeah, the TV industry is also getting pretty damn close. Aside from your shitty sitcoms.
Right, but I don't know if that'll ever change. Like, it's been like that since the beginning of TV, right? Like,
Fucking Jim Parsons is still winning Emmys.
ugh, ugh.
I couldn't believe that. You know why he won that Emmy, right? He was the least talented person there. Do you know why he won it, right?
I don't know. He has more money than them.
Because NBC wants to keep the Big Bang Theory people happy because they make them like
Well,
$15 trillion a week.
but don't everybody makes like 20 mil an episode? Like,
But they need to keep those people happy. That's why they pay them that much.
yeah, I guess that's fucked though. Like, they don't do any. I'm as good of an actor as most of the people on that show.
Maybe all. Maybe all.
I like that one. I like the Jewish guy. I think he's actually talented.
He's all right, but he's the Jewish guy and everything.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
absolutely. But I think like if he had a chance, he would actually be probably the best actor out of those people.
Yeah, the main guy is garbage. Like he's
Oh,
garbage.
he's so fucking bad. He's just a douchebag too. Like whenever he's accepting awards, he's like chewing gum or like has a toothpick in, and you're like, this guy's a fucking asshole. Like,
I don't like him. Jim Parsons I feel is good, but I feel like that show limits him a lot.
yeah, I think he's probably good. He's awful just because of what they've made him on that show. But
Yeah.
like, I feel like he might be good. Like it's another one of those things.
Yeah. I agree.
I'd like to see him in something else, honestly, quite honest. Like there's that guy and the Jewish guy. I'd like to see them in something else, not playing a stereotypical character. I don't think it'll ever happen, but I'd like to see it.
We can hope, Colby. We can hope.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much covers everything.
Yeah, I think that rounds up our whole episode. Next week we're going to be talking about what's the next Bond movie? I already forget.
Yeah, I don't know.
I swear to God, I looked this up beforehand. I swear to God, I looked it up. We're
I-
going to
I-
be talking about whatever the next Bond movie is.
Yeah, and I think the Angry Video Game movie.
As well as I think we were talking about maybe doing Maleficent with Angelina Jolie
Right, yeah, we can do that. Oh,
Yes.
From Russia with Love, I believe is the next one.
from Russia with Love.
Yes.
All right, okay. I'm gonna trust you on that one and just download From Russia with Love. From Russia with Love is also fucking awesome.
Yeah, that's a good
Not
one.
not as good. When we get to my favorite James Bond movie, I'm gonna be so excited. When we get to my favorite James Bond movie, because I have a very specific one that is my absolute favorite.
Moonraker.
No, but that one's fucking a masterpiece.
Oh, that one's mad silly. I can't wait to get to that one.
That one's amazing. So good. Yeah, but no,
I kind of want to do those two like fucking fake James Bond movies too at some point.
oh yeah, the ones that Sean Connery made because he got mad because of Roger Moore.
There's one Sean Connery one, and then there's just like a super fake old Casino Royale comedy.
Oh yeah. I've heard about that. They made it because they were like, you guys ruined James Bond. This is supposed to be a comedy.
Well,
Wait,
it was
you're
one of
right.
those things where like rights weren't solidified back in the '60s, so like anybody could really make a James Bond movie. But we'll get to it, like,
It'll be there.
because I'm excited to talk about that one because I've heard some things about it. I've never seen it, but like, there's just some classic shit. So yeah,
And then we can even get into like parodies as well.
yeah, we'll see where it takes us. Anyway, that's the show. Follow me on Twitter at JesusHMazy.
At Charlie Movie, I'm famous.
Punchers.com.